I sent.
Yes.
Ray, did you see the slides? Ray? Hello?
No, I cannot see the slide.
No. You misunderstand her. You misunderstand him. He means email.
Yeah, I see the email.
Okay. Sorry. Yes, the email. Chen, did you see the email?
Yes, we did.
Perfect. Xiao?
Yes, I see. I saw that.
That is very nice. So, Liang? You too? So, did you also read it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. So, first question to Ray and your colleague, Xiao, because I did not really understand your case you should work on. Did you describe the case for me in more detail?
Oh, well, okay. The business idea is from my experience, because
sorry, Ray. Just write it on.
Okay.
Yeah, on the no. I have given you a slide to actually write your Q&A, your questions regarding the case we talked about. And for example, what are your questions about
okay. We
case?
finished.
What are the first steps you want to go with the case? So just write it down, the concrete description of your case, like you saw it in the case of the restaurant, Japanese goes Chinese. So if you just write it on your slide of the case from Yuan Xiao, the definition of your case, what do you want to achieve, and then I would just go into the restaurant case, yeah, and then we try to put together.
Ziyao and I is not the restaurant case.
No. Just I go into the restaurant case because this is complete, and you probably can in between just write your case onto a slide and send it or present it. So let me just give this here. Okay. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay. Because everything is the same, Ray and Xiao. The only thing which is different due to the slides I sent is the description of your case. And that is that is missing here on your point, because I didn't really understand what your case is. Yeah. If you just complete this one, and then let's go to to go into the logic of the case of the restaurant, because this is complete. Yeah, and then you can add your slide to describe your one in more details. So, Aisin, just tell me, what is your case? Is that okay what I wrote into it? And why did I write it like this?
Well, the only thing I disagree with is are you serious about 200 kilometers?
That is the question. Why? It is known statistically that if you have, for example, investors at early stages for a business, like, for example, business angels or people from the first seed financing, they mostly feel comfortable. And of course, based on the capability and possibility to control the business they are investing, that they are looking for businesses first in the region of about 200 kilometers around. Yeah, that is just a statistical outcome they found out. You can imagine having control of the entrepreneur, having control of the development of the different shops you are going to invest in. That number is a statistical one, but it's not a must, but could be, could make sense in the first or second phase of your restaurant. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, of course, if you invest into something, you need to define something very special to attract the Chinese people for Japanese food. That means what is the special idea or the special service, etc. That is something to go later into the description. And what I wrote is, imagine this case is a startup in creating what you said with Chen and Liang, a sushi restaurant, which is what I interpret, or what I would like you to plan a base of a restaurant chain. We're not talking about one restaurant. Yes, we talk about one in the very beginning, but we talk about the concept to actually found multiple restaurants, establishing within the region of about 200 kilometers. This is more or less the first or second approach. And of course, the first restaurant, as always, the first attempt of a concept is the reference of the others. So, of course, in this case, you have to make some decisions. Yeah?
Yes.
How to define the target groups. That means what is your key performance factor in a way of what is your USP. How to make money. Did you remember when we talked about this triangle? Mm-hmm. The question, how to make money? What is the concept of making money?
Yeah, but I'm just thinking, if we put this restaurant in Wiesbaden, 200 kilometer, our job we may do too much job. 200 kilometers is already including Frankfurt and other several different cities among the whole province.
Yeah, but of course it is always depending on the size of the state or the size of the country. In Germany, probably you go for the top 5 or 6 cities. Mm-hmm. Because we are not so big as a country. And also it depends, of course, on the number of entities or restaurants. Because some businesses, especially in the area of restaurants or bars, because it's not an internet business, they say that they, for example, say, we only go for investing in a restaurant when the town has more than 50,000 people, or 200,000 or 100,000. So I know some new chains, they told themselves, okay, we need at least 100,000 people. So there are also restrictions you can define by your own. But
okay.
How to make money is the way, Ray, we talked about your capsulate for the coffee machine. Yeah. And your capsulate was like this for a whole family. So that is a special way of how to make money. So in your case, if you talk about a restaurant, the question is, what is the concept between? For example, you could introduce a license-based concept. So you give out a license to people who want to follow your concept, and you license your concept and don't really operate every single restaurant, like Vapiano did, or other concepts, or McDonald's. They don't own most of their shops. Okay, so there are many points just to consider. And of course, if you talk about your target group and you talk about how to make money, of course, you have to talk about how to attract. If you have your target group established, how to attract your target group. And in this case, you have a business to consumer relation. You are the business and you talk to consumers. You don't talk to other businesses. Yeah. So where do you get the money from? And so on. So are different ways of, or different kind of questions you have to answer to yourself, which you will find in most of the slides and the issues we talked about, and you will find in some of the literature. Yeah. That means when we refer to a business plan, that a business plan always is mirroring the result of these questions, the answers of these questions. Because if you want to have to establish or produce a very good a future planned business plan, you need to answer these questions. Otherwise, you have no base to actually create your business plan. And what I would like to see from your side is a business plan for about the next 3 years. But I think it is too long in the beginning. So I would say, let's do a business plan where you are talking about the first 1.5 or 2 years, yeah, to correct this, yeah, so that we correct this onto, let's say, 1.5 to 2 years. I think that's enough. So that is the case. What I understood from your side, Liang, Chen, and Aisin, of course, I extended this one by comments and some questions. Is this something you would say, yes, that could be, that is the case we are talking about?
Yes, most probably do.
Yeah? Or do you have some questions? Do you have some ideas? Do you have some critics on this, criticisms on this, or you want to add something?
We had a small discussion yesterday, and I think the most case has been already solved among 3 of us.
So it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And you understand the questions, and probably the other questions you have to answer for yourself to create a business plan.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Ray, in your case, Xiao and Ray, sorry for that. I didn't really get your business idea and business concept, but at the end of the game, I'm questioning the same factors as I did for your three colleagues, Liang, Chen, and Aisin. But what I need is to describe your business plan based on what you have read about the restaurant plan, so that you try to explain your ideas. So please do this just meanwhile, or do it in a break session that you can send me your content or your idea, right? Okay. The task of what you actually should do, of course, is at the end of the game, after defining what you actually want to do, a business plan for a startup company. And in that case, it is the sushi business case. Japan goes Chinese, or whatever you name it. And the business plan is part of an overall strategy. And processes to define the most important components, or is reflecting the most important components of your business. It should describe the idea, the targets, the plan, the starting point, and of course the questions of finance. Yeah, and you can just create your own starting point. Yeah, if you say, okay, I start with, in the very beginning, And I'm right now in the phase of formulating the formulating the first ideas and the concept with an architect, etc., etc. That is up to you. Or you say, oh, no, my plan starts later on. I want to plan my business, so I think I have established my first restaurant, and now I want to go to expand, yeah, the restaurant into a chain. So you decide where you want to start in these phases, yeah. That's your choice, where to start, and then from this starting point to build your business case and the financial issues, etc. Who you will include into your plans, which kind of investor are you looking for? Do you want to go for debt, or you want to go for equity money, etc.? Is this clear?
Yeah.
Xiao?
Yes.
Yang? Ray?
Yes.
Good. Here I already corrected it. The plan should cover the first 2 years. Yeah. Financials, marketing, you know the keywords and the most important issues you have to work on. Literature. You know, I invited you to look at certain literature. Of course, the slides I sent you from our lessons. Did they help you? Are they okay? If you have read them. Okay, so I gave you some hints for literature, etc. And here, I think I already sent you some remarks regarding this book. And in this book, I think it's a very, very good book with quite a good understanding of, or it is near to reality. So it's a very, very good description. And section 1 to 4, especially section 4, is all very much based on a business plan. And I hope you remember 2 slides which showed you the most basic parts of a business plan. But I will show you these 2 slides. Of course, then we talked about some articles, some copies of articles you will find in the lessons material. So, how to proceed? The homework is divided into 2 parts. Today, you should answer your question. You should give me your questions. So we should discuss about what you should do, how you should do it. If you have questions to all of this regarding finally to a business plan, we should discuss this today. Yeah. That means, what are your first ideas to structure? What are your first steps and decisions to make, you think? In what order you are defining the activities to plan very early and early stages, or do you plan from later stages on? What has to be prepared to generate a business plan? Yeah, Q&A. So use today to get feedback from your colleagues as well as, of course, from my side. Next week or the week after, depending on time, you should present the result of your homework. You should prepare a 2 or 3 pager about your story, the major keystones and decisions you made, and to actually present a business plan which reflects the key questions to create or establish the business. Finance, who is financing, etc., etc. And then you present the business plan itself. And of course, bring A and B together in a 5 to 7 slide or 3 and 4 slide presentation, where you summarize your business intention, your story, your keystones, the decision you make, and the major figures and outcome of the business plan. Okay. Q&A. One question. Do you also have sushi in Chinese, and do you call this sushi?
Yes.
What is your, how do you call it?
寿司.
Sauce.
寿司.
Okay. But
Whatever.
it is more or less the same.
Yes, because you know the Japanese and Chinese, they always have similar pronunciation.
Okay. Good.
And so do the Korean. If you check the, actually, as I said, the Japan, even today, there are about 30% of Chinese words in Japanese. So if you use the same words, the pronunciation are always close.
Okay. So, questions?
Well, yesterday we just discussed about how we start, how we begin with, and the definition of the restaurant, which means should we do the things like should we make the restaurant like a fast food or something like a big hotel restaurant?
If you write, and that is the most important thing, what you describing is how to start. Yeah, it is really the major point. So what you said, and you transfer this into your issue, it's the statement of the problem. So that is exactly what it means. So to make a very clear statement of your business. How should it look like? Yeah, absolutely. And you have to make these decisions. It's a delivery service. It's a real restaurant. So what is the concept of this? Because of course it has consequences to the money you need. Yeah. And in this case, when we talk about, it's that you make a simulation. Yeah. So if you say, for example, I define the the target group, yeah, then you just simulate and you describe the target group. So that means if you define your business, and what we said, you have these 3 bolts. You remember? In the middle, you have your target group, and you have to define your target group. You have to define what you deliver and how to deliver to satisfy the needs of your target group, and then how to make money. And these components actually are the basics of your business. Yeah, that is the basics, and everything behind this is more or less the more and more detailed description of your business. Yeah. So, but you're absolutely right. This is the basics. So that means if you describe your business idea, then you have to answer these questions, which are more or less are the 3 points. Target group, why should they buy? So what do they need? What is, for example, the USP, and how do I make money with this group? That means value proposition, why should they buy? This is regarding the USP. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For example, your product is cheaper. Yeah, you have a big advantage. You get all the things you buy and you need. You get all these resources cheaper than others. You have a source to get to buy the fish at a perfect, very low price. And then what we talk about, the revenue, how will you earn money? Market space, market size. That could be the environment, what we said about 200 kilometers here and there, because this restriction has impact on, for example, marketing costs, etc. Yeah. Who is your competitor? And of course, again, the USP competitive advantage is like the value proposition. What is your advantage to and for the market space? That is what you have to define in the very early stage. And if you cannot answer these questions properly and based on the information you are collecting, you shouldn't start a business.
Yeah.
Then, of course, you talk about marketing, you talk about the organization, you talk about management. And all of these are to define in the first attempt to create or to describe your business. And based on this, and here the only thing which is not mentioned is the financial model behind. All of this is then represented in a business plan. And let's just have a little excursus. So if we have just to remind you, so you know this here, of course. This is what your decision is. I don't have any restriction. You can decide whether you define, okay, I start here or I start here in this chain. So that is your decision, how you actually set up. So the business plan. So to get more about what we actually saw on the other slide, have a look to slide 75. And here I made the first remark for this book. Slide 76, 77, 78. This is the basic of a business plan. This is more or less the maximum content of a business plan. And as earlier your stage is to establish your business, as shorter the business plan should be. Because what we talked about once is in the very beginning, everything will change fast. So don't define too much into your first business plan. And as more your business develops, as more or as more extent develops your business plan. Yeah. So have a look at slide 75, 76, 77, 78, 79. What is the financial? We have several slides for this. And then here you have the different ways of funding, which is of course for you important to choose where are you going to actually to fund? And that is always a very important question, which is the question is debt versus equity. Taking a loan from a bank or from a venture guy or from an angel, or go and ask for equity. And equity always means the guy giving you money becomes a partly owner of your company. Okay, so I think you see the major input you have to generate. You don't need to present a contract or to fill out this sheet I sent to you, of course. So let's go back. Questions?
Well, can you send to us today's slides? I mean, we want these tips and suggestions in this slide.
Yeah, just a second. Let me just check. What I sent you. Yeah, okay. I saw, I sent you an older version, or yeah, I will send you this version afterwards. But important is that you go for the questions now to discuss if something is not clear. Ray? Ray and Xiao, could you send me your more or less more detailed text information about your case? You can do it via email if you like. Yeah, your description, like the one we did for the restaurant. Yeah. So an equivalent one to this. I don't know whether your product is an internet offer, or so just describe what your product is, and yeah, and I give you a few minutes. The others are still thinking, so just try to create and describe your case now, and just send it to me within the next minutes. The other ones, any question?
I write on the chat. Maybe you can take a look.
Did you write? Yes, they write a lot of things.
Yeah, that's a question, whether you have questions, hopefully. No questions. Okay, so everything is clear to you. Good. Then I need only the text from Ray and Xiao. Good. Okay. If you write an analysis of short, however, whatever short is, decision-based case, like in homework, of course, you go for an executive summary. That means, of course, you write this at the end of your homework you have to do. And this summary can, for example, be the slides you prepare for the presentation. Yeah. And you can do this executive summary also in the very beginning. So you start with an executive summary, and then in the following slides or the document, you say, I did this and this and this, and I decided this and this and this, I planned this and this and this, I took a financial construction because of chapter whatever in your 2-pager or 3-pager. Some people use the executive summary at the end of everything you do, or you presented, or you worked out, or whatever you did. I personally would do the executive summary and present the executive summary in the beginning. And then referring to where you actually talked or wrote about why you made this decision, which then is a result of something you wrote in the summary. The second, which is important, is the statement of a problem. And you have to separate between a symptom and a problem behind it. The symptom is you don't have cash. The problem is what you need to describe. And what is your decision to get rid of this problem? And not explaining the symptom. Yeah? That means causes. Why did something happen? Of course, then you need to define your solutions or alternatives. And of course, the recommendation. And of course, how do you implement? This is the major point. If you talk to investors, if you talk to banks, etc., they always want to have an executive summary. They want, if there is a problem, the statement of it. They want to see what is behind the symptom. What are the possible solutions? What are the criteria and the alternatives of this solution? And what do you recommend to your business to change or whatever? And how do you want to implement this? Because you need, at the end of the game, to describe the action steps to implement the recommendation. And which order. So if you go to define your business, describe your way to create your startup with all the aspects we talked about, you will find that there are potential problems coming up. You cannot define. You don't know how to solve it. Then just write down, I don't have an answer for this and this and this today regarding my plans, but probably I have some alternatives I'm thinking about, but I don't have a solution yet, but I have to recommend this or this and this. But you probably don't have the idea yet how to implement this because you didn't make a decision yet. For example, you discuss the way of how to finance your business. I say, should I take a loan? So debt finance. Should I find the investor to get equity from my company? So you say, okay, that's my pros, that's my cons. I can't make a decision yet because of I have no idea what the reasons or the outcome is of this decision. I know it's a lot of input, a lot of things, but I don't expect a perfect description of your business, etc., and the business plan, which is the outcome of this. Yeah. Don't go the German way to try to make everything as complete as possible and perfect. Yeah, there is no way. But please, if you have a problem with parts of the business plan or with decisions to make, try to describe why you cannot make this decision or why you don't know which way to go. Did everybody understand what I said? Or does Eisen need to translate?
With pleasure.
Questions? Ladies. So, okay. Ray, I just read your comment. Hello? Good. Okay, let's just talk about this. So, this is the case to start up a business in creating a virtual reality technology applied in the learning process for all students and even adults who are interested in it. To establish a virtual and interesting scene to help them learn more intuitively. The main business is to provide virtual reality experience and learning resources for customer groups, and it can also sell some virtual reality equipment. By mixing the real environment with the virtual environment, virtual reality technology will be an important tool for the teaching process in the future. You want to attract consumers on the one hand, is the technical advantage which can provide real, effective, and high quality learning content. On the other hand, the content provided can be richer to meet the needs of people at different stages. The main channels for obtaining funds are bank loans, looking for partners and investors. The partner is a company, blah, 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 blah. Okay, good. Ray, that means this is something you offer via the internet or social medias, right? But you need to describe what is the service, what is the content? Is it how to learn a language? Is it about how to whatever? So the question is, what do you actually want to, what is the content of this? So just to describe, when you talk about your target group, you should talk about the content, and you should more concrete define, not now, not here, but in your work, you both should define more detailed the target group. Yeah. For example, you address students between 10 and 18 years in these and these classes to actually have these and these products ready. Yeah. And then how to want to develop, probably then you'd want to develop this into the adults environment. And so just to define the target groups. And of course, today's target groups, and probably you say, if I establish my products in one target group, that is the base to extend this kind of teaching, whatever, to adults. For example, if you are successful with certain services to certain students, you can say, okay, the parents actually see the product for their children and think that's great, perfect, well done. And your response is so positive from the parents of these people that you think about to extend the business. Yeah. Okay, just to have this in mind. Yeah. Virtual reality, that means, if I understand it in the right way, you need these special hardware. You need that kind of classes to have the 3-dimensional environment. Okay, so if you talk about French, for example, you talk about learning a language, yeah, and then you talk about learning French. You probably see in 3-dimension a building, whatever, and you describe in French, or you learn what this building is. And okay, just then within the next step to describe, it is like in Eisen's group to describe the type of restaurant and how they want to service their customers. Yeah. Okay, good. Good. I will actually put this into the slide. Yeah, as a basic description, but please try to make this more concrete, of course, within the next steps. Oh, business model. Good. What else? Aha. Okay. Good. I think, Xiao, what this means is when do we do a break, right? Your question in the Zoom chat.
No.
Okay, good. So this is the case to start up a business in creating a virtual reality applied to in the learning process for all students and even adults who are interested in it. To establish a virtual interest is seen to help them learn more intuitively. The main business is to provide experience and learning resources for customer group. Okay, yes, but this is, of course, you need to describe the content. And if you describe the content, you know about the target groups, or you have a target group and then you describe the content. Yeah. Okay. Good. Thanks for this input. So you don't have any questions. Very good. I think we should make a break. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I would say 20 minutes.
Makes sense.